Hello, welcome to Fun English Daily. Chapter 1: The Dream of Learning While You Sleep. Have you ever seen an advertisement on the internet? An advertisement that promises something amazing? Something like learn English fast. Just listen while you sleep. It sounds like a wonderful dream. Imagine going to bed, putting on your headphones, and waking up in the morning with new English words in your brain. It seems too good to be true. This idea is often called sleep learning. The idea is that your brain can listen to information while you're sleeping, and you can learn without any effort. Many people want to believe this is possible. Our lives are very busy. We have work, school, family, and chores. It can be difficult to find time to study a new language. So the idea of learning while we sleep is very attractive. It feels like a magic shortcut. But here is the important question. Does it really work? Can you really become fluent in English just by listening to audio files at night? Scientists have studied this question for many years. They have studied the brain during sleep. They have done many experiments, and the answer in the end is quite simple. The answer is no. You cannot learn a new language like English while you're sleeping. This might be disappointing news for some people. It is sad to know that the magic shortcut is not real, but this is also good news. It is good news because now you can stop looking for magic tricks. Now you can focus on the real methods that truly work. Learning a language is not a magic trick. It is a journey. It is a process. It requires effort, time, and dedication. But this journey is also very rewarding. The feeling of understanding a movie in English or having a conversation with a new friend from another country is a much better feeling than any magic trick can give you. So in this book, we're going to talk about the real path to learning English. We will forget about the dream of sleep learning, and we will focus on the real effective and enjoyable ways to learn. This is not a story about shortcuts. This is a story about building real skills step by step. It is the story of how you can truly learn English. Chapter 2: The Real Secret Act of Learning versus Passive Learning. To understand why sleep learning doesn't work, we need to understand two very important ideas: active learning and passive learning. These two ideas are the key to understanding how our brains learn a language. What is passive learning? Passive learning is when you receive information without doing anything with it. Your brain is not working hard. It is like sitting in a car and looking out the window. You see many things, but you are not driving the car. Examples of passive learning include listening to an English podcast while you're doing something else like cooking or cleaning. Watching an English movie with subtitles in your own language. Having an English TV show on in the background while you look at your phone. In these situations, your ears hear the English language, but your brain is not fully engaged. You're a passive observer. Passive learning is not completely useless. It can help you get used to the sounds and rhythm of English. It can make you feel more comfortable with the language. But it is not enough to help you learn and remember new things effectively. Sleep learning is the most passive form of learning there is. Your brain is resting, not working. What is active learning? Active learning is the opposite. Active learning is when your brain is working hard. You are engaged with the material. You are thinking, doing, and using the language. It is like driving the car, not just sitting in it. You have to pay attention to the road, use the steering wheel, and make decisions. Examples of active learning include listening to an English podcast and trying to write down the main ideas, watching an English movie with English subtitles and pausing to look up new words, speaking English with a language partner, writing a short paragraph in your English journal, doing a grammar exercise or a vocabulary quiz. In these situations, you are not just receiving information. You're interacting with it. You're using your brain to understand, remember, and produce the language. Why is active learning so important? Active learning is the real secret to making progress in English. When you're active, you are telling your brain, this information is important. You need to remember this. Your brain then works to create strong connections. These strong connections are what we call memory. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. Can you learn to ride a bicycle just by watching videos of other people riding? It's impossible. You have to get on a bicycle yourself. You have to try to pedal. You will probably fall down a few times. But every time you try, every time you practice, your brain and your body learn. You are learning actively. Learning English is the same. You cannot become fluent just by passively listening. You must actively participate in the process. You must try to speak even if you make mistakes. You must try to write even if your sentences are not perfect. You must try to understand even if it is difficult. The rest of this book will focus on active learning methods. We will give you many simple and practical ways to engage with the English language every day. Remember, the goal is not to find the easiest way to learn. The goal is to find the most effective way to learn, and the most effective way is always active. Chapter 3: Building your listening skills actively. We know that listening is the foundation of language learning, but just hearing English is not enough. We need to practice active listening. Active listening means you are paying full attention and trying to understand the message. Let's explore some active listening techniques that you can start using today. Technique 1, focused listening. This is the opposite of having English on in the background. For this technique, you need to find a quiet place where you will not be distracted. Put your phone away. Close tabs on your computer. Your only job for the next 10 or 15 minutes is to listen. Choose a short audio clip. It can be from a podcast for English learners, a short news story, or even a scene from a TV show. The audio should be at your level or just a little bit difficult. First, listening. Listen to the entire audio clip one time. Don't stop. Just try to understand the general topic or the main idea. What is it about? Who is speaking? What is the mood? Second, listening. Listen again. This time you can pause the audio. Try to understand more details. If there is a word you don't know, but you think it is important, write it down. Third, listening. Listen one more time. Now that you know the main idea and some of the details, see how much more you can understand. You will be surprised. This focus practice trains your brain to pay attention and to find meaning even when you don't understand every word. Listening with a purpose. Another way to be an active listener is to give yourself a task to do while you listen. This gives you a reason to listen carefully. Here are some simple tasks you can do. Listen for specific information. Before you listen, ask yourself a question. For example, if you're listening to a weather report, your question could be, what will the temperature be tomorrow? Then you listen carefully just for the answer to that question. Listen and write down keywords. Listen to a short audio clip and write down the 5 most important words you hear. This forces you to identify the key vocabulary. Listen and summarize. After you listen to a story or a short talk, try to say or write a one-sentence summary. For example, this audio was about a man who wants to buy a new car. When you listen with a purpose, you are not just a passive receiver of sound. You are an active searcher for information. Technique 3, using transcripts. A transcript is the written text of an audio recording. Many podcasts and videos for English learners provide a transcript. This is an incredibly powerful tool for active listening. Here's a great method to use with transcripts. Listen first without the text. Try to understand as much as you can. Listen again while reading the transcript. This is where you connect the sounds you hear with the words you see. You can see the spelling of new words and how sentences are formed. Read the transcript out loud. Now you can practice your own pronunciation. Try to copy the intonation and rhythm of the native speaker. Listen one last time without the text. You will be amazed at how much clearer the audio sounds. Now, this process turns a simple listening exercise into a powerful lesson that includes reading and speaking practice as well. Remember, active listening is a skill. It requires more effort than passive listening, but the results are much, much better. By practicing these techniques, you're not just hearing English. You are truly learning to understand it. This is a real step on your journey to fluency. Chapter 4. Building your speaking skills actively. Speaking is often the biggest fear for English learners, but it is also one of the most important skills. You can learn to speak English, even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, and even if you don't have a teacher. The key, once again, is active practice. Let's look at some simple but powerful ways to actively practice your speaking. Technique 1, the power of speaking aloud. The first step to becoming a better speaker is to get comfortable with the sound of your own voice speaking English. The best way to do this is to speak out loud. Even when you are alone, read out loud. When you're doing reading practice, don't just read silently in your head. Read the text out loud. This does 2 things. First, it practices your pronunciation. Your mouth and tongue are muscles, and they need exercise to make the new sounds of English. Second, it helps you remember the words and sentences better, because you are both seeing them and hearing them. Repeat what you hear. When you're watching a movie or listening to a podcast and you hear a short, interesting sentence, pause the audio and repeat the sentence out loud. Try to copy the speaker's pronunciation and intonation exactly. This is a simple but very effective way to improve your accent and sound more natural. Narrate your life. We talked about this technique before, but it is so good that we should talk about it again. Narrating your life means describing what you're doing, seeing, or thinking out loud in English. This is active speaking practice at its best. You're not repeating sentences from a book. You're creating your own sentences about your own life. This forces your brain to actively search for words and build sentences in the morning. Okay, it's time to get up. I'm walking to the kitchen now. I'm going to make some coffee. I need a cup and some water at the supermarket. I am the supermarket. I need to buy some vegetables. I see the carrots. I am putting some carrots in my basket. Now I need some milk. In the evening I am tired. I'm sitting on the sofa. I'm going to watch a TV show now. This show is very funny. It might feel strange at first, but this is one of the most powerful ways to start thinking in English and to make your speaking more automatic. Technique 3, answer questions out loud. Another great way to practice speaking by yourself is to find questions and answer them out loud. You can find lists of simple conversation questions online. Search for basic English conversation questions. You will find questions like, what is your favorite color? What did you do last weekend? What are your hobbies? Read the question and then try to answer it out loud in a full sentence. Question: what is your favorite food? Your answer out loud: my favorite food is pizza. I like it because it has cheese and tomatoes. I sometimes eat pizza on Fridays. This is excellent practice because you're not just saying one word, pizza. You're practicing forming complete sentences and giving reasons or extra details, just like in a real conversation. Technique 4, use a voice recorder. Your smartphone has a voice recorder app. This is a very useful tool. You can record yourself doing any of the speaking exercises above. After you record yourself, listen back. How is your pronunciation? Are you speaking clearly? Are you making any common grammar mistakes? Listening to yourself can be a little strange at first, but it is the best way to find your own weaknesses and work on improving them. You become your own teacher. Speaking English is a physical skill. You have to practice it to get better. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start speaking. The perfect moment is now. Start with these simple, active exercises, and you will build the confidence you need to have real conversations. Chapter 5, building your reading skills actively. Reading is a wonderful way to learn English. It is quiet. You can do it anywhere, and you can go at your own pace. But to get the most benefit from reading, you need to be an active reader. An active reader doesn't just let their eyes move over the words. An active reader thinks about what they are reading. Let's explore some simple techniques to become a more active and effective reader. Before you read, predict. Before you even start reading an article or a story, take 30 seconds to look at it and make some predictions. Look at the title. What do you think the text will be about? For example, if the title is A Day at the Beach, you can predict that the story will talk about the sun, the ocean, and swimming. Look at any pictures. Pictures give you big clues about the story. Read the first sentence. The first sentence of a paragraph often tells you the main idea. When you make predictions, you are activating your brain. You're getting it ready to understand the text. This simple step makes a big difference. Technique 2. While you read, interact with the text. Don't just be a passive consumer of words. Interact with what you are reading. Highlight or underline. Use a pen or a highlighter to mark important things. You can highlight new vocabulary words that you don't know, interesting phrases or expressions that you like, the main idea of each paragraph. Write notes in the margin. If you're reading your own book, you can write small notes in the margin. You can write a question, a thought, or a summary of a paragraph. For example, next to a difficult paragraph, you could write this part is about his childhood. This helps you to check your understanding as you go. Technique 3. After you read, summarize and retell. What you do after you finish reading is very important for your memory. Summarize. Close the book or turn off the screen. Now try to summarize what you just read. You could do this in 2 ways. Write a summary. Write a few sentences in your notebook that explain the main points of the text. Say a summary. Speak the summary out loud. You can pretend you're telling a friend about the story you just read. For example, I just read a story about a man named Leo. On Saturday, he went to the park and met his friend. On Sunday, he cleaned his apartment. Retell the story. This is a more advanced version of summarizing. Try to retell the whole story in your own words. Don't worry about using the exact same words as the text. The goal is to use the ideas and the vocabulary you remember to create your own version of the story. This is fantastic practice for both your memory and your speaking skills. Technique 4, the just read method. Sometimes it is also important to just read for pleasure. This is called extensive reading. For this method, you choose a book that is very easy for you. You should understand almost all the words. When you do extensive reading, you don't stop to look up words. You don't take notes. You just read. You read for fun like you would in your own language. This method is very good for building your reading speed and your confidence. It helps your brain to get used to processing English quickly and automatically. It reminds you that reading in English can be a relaxing and enjoyable activity. A good learning plan should include both active reading with a difficult text and extensive reading with an easy, enjoyable text. By combining these methods, you will become a strong and confident reader in English. Chapter 6, Building Your Writing Skills. Actively writing is a skill that many English learners avoid. They think it is too difficult, or they worry too much about making spelling and grammar mistakes. But just like speaking, writing is an active skill that helps you improve in many ways. When you write, you have to slow down, choose your words carefully, and think about sentence structure. This process strengthens your knowledge of English. You don't need to write a perfect essay to practice your writing. You can start with very simple, short, and practical exercises. The daily sentence, this is the easiest way to start a writing habit. The goal is to write just one sentence in English every day. That's it. One sentence. What can you write about? You can write about anything. You can write about something you did today. I ate a delicious apple. You can write about how you feel. I feel very happy today because it is sunny. You can write about a new word you learned. I learned the word cozy. My living room is very cozy. The power of this technique is in its consistency. If you write one sentence every day, by the end of the year, you will have written 365 sentences. You will have built a strong habit and you will no longer be afraid of writing in English. Technique 2, the private journal. A journal is your secret private space to practice writing because nobody else will read it. You can write freely without worrying about mistakes. This is very important for building confidence. You can expand on the daily sentence technique. Try writing a short paragraph in your journal every evening before you go to bed. You can summarize your day. Today was a busy day. I went to work in the morning. I had a meeting with my boss. After work, I went to the supermarket. I bought food for the week. Now I'm tired and ready to sleep. You can write about your goals. This week, I want to practice my English listening. I will listen to one podcast every day. I also want to learn 10 new vocabulary words. Keeping a journal helps you get used to expressing your personal thoughts and experiences in English. Guided writing. Sometimes it's difficult to know what to write about. This is where guided writing can help. Guided writing means you use a model or a prompt to help you write. Copying. This might sound strange, but copying is a very old and effective learning method. Find a short, well-written paragraph in English. It could be from a book, an article, or a story. Read it carefully, then copy it by hand into your notebook. When you copy, you pay attention to every word, every comma, and every period. You are noticing the structure of good writing. Using a prompt is a question or a topic that gives you an idea for writing. You can find many writing prompts online. For example, a prompt could be, "What is your favorite holiday? Describe it." Or, "If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?" Prompts like these make writing feel like a fun game. Technique 4. Using technology to get feedback. While it's important not to worry too much about mistakes, it's also good to learn from them. Technology can help you with this. After you write a short text, you can type it into a free online grammar checker. These tools will show you your spelling mistakes and suggest corrections for your grammar. When you see the corrections, don't just accept them. Try to understand why it was a mistake. Did you use the wrong verb tense? Did you forget an article? This is a great way to learn grammar in a very practical way. Writing is a skill that connects your brain to the page. It helps you organize your thoughts and solidify your knowledge of vocabulary and grammar. Start with one sentence today and watch your confidence and your skills grow. Chapter 7. How to remember vocabulary forever. You learn a new word. You feel excited. You write it down. The next day, it's gone. Does this sound familiar? Forgetting vocabulary is one of the most frustrating parts of learning a language. But it doesn't have to be this way. The problem is often not your memory. It's the method you're using to learn. Just reading a word and its translation is not enough for your brain to create a strong memory. You need to use more active and creative techniques. Let's explore some powerful methods to make new English words stick in your brain forever. Make it personal. Our brains are very good at remembering things that are connected to our own lives, our feelings, and our experiences. So when you learn a new word, the most important thing you can do is to connect it to yourself. How to do it? When you learn a new word, don't just write the definition. Create a sentence using that word that is true for you. Example, let's say you learn the adjective exhausted, which means very, very tired. A bad example sentence is, "The man is exhausted." This is boring and has no connection to you. A good personal example sentence is, "After I cleaned my whole apartment on Saturday, I felt exhausted," or, "Last night my baby cried a lot. So today I am exhausted." Now the word is connected to a real feeling and a real memory in your life. This personal connection is like glue for your memory. Method 2, create a strong visual image. Our brains think in pictures. An image is much more powerful than just a word. When you learn a new word, close your eyes for 10 seconds and create a mental movie for it. Make the image strange, funny, or full of emotion. Strong images are easier to remember. Example, let's say you learn the verb to shiver, which means to shake slightly because you're cold or scared. Your mental movie. Imagine you're standing outside in the winter. You're wearing only a t-shirt. You can see your breath in the air. You feel the cold wind on your skin, and your whole body starts to shake uncontrollably. That feeling, that action that is shivering. When you create this strong sensory image, your brain has a picture to connect to the word. Method 3. Learn word friends. Collocations in English. Some words are almost always found together. These word partnerships are called collocations. Learning words together with their friends makes you sound much more natural, and it's easier for your brain to remember them as a single chunk. Many learners translate directly from their native language. For example, they might say a strong rain, but the natural English collocation is heavy rain. Instead of just learning the word mistake, learn the full phrase, make a mistake. Instead of just learning photo, learn take a photo. Instead of just learning attention, learn pay attention. When you see a new word, ask yourself what other words are often used with it. You can search online for your new word plus collocation to find its friends. Use spaced repetition. Learning a word once is not enough. To move a word from your short-term memory to your long-term memory, you need to review it multiple times with breaks in between. This is called spaced repetition. The schedule. A good review schedule is review 10 minutes after you first learn the word. Review 2 1 day later. Review 3 days later. Review 4 1 week later. Review 5 1 month later. This system feels like magic, but it's based on science. It tells your brain that this information is important and should be saved. You can use flashcard apps like Anki that use this system automatically, or you can do it yourself with a notebook. Method 5. Use the word actively. The final and most important step is to use the new word. You have to take it out of your notebook and use it in a real way. The 24-hour challenge. When you learn a new word, give yourself a challenge. You must try to use that word in the next 24 hours. You can use it when you're speaking to yourself. You can use it in your daily journal. You can use it in a comment you write on YouTube. The act of retrieving the word from your memory and using it to communicate is the final step that locks it into your brain. By using these active methods, you can stop the frustrating cycle of learning and forgetting. You can start building a rich and permanent English vocabulary. Chapter 8. The importance of a routine. We have talked about many different methods for practicing English, but how do you make sure you actually do them? The answer is simple but very powerful. You need a routine. A routine is a plan that you follow every day or every week. It is a habit. When you have a routine, you don't need to use your motivation or willpower every day. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings can change. Some days you feel motivated, some days you don't. But a routine is an action. It is something you do even when you don't feel like it. Building a good learning routine is maybe the most important step to becoming a successful language learner. Why routines are powerful. They save mental energy. When you have a routine, you don't have to make a decision every day about what to study or when to study. The decision is already made. This saves your mental energy for the most important thing, learning. They build momentum. When you do something every day, even for a short time, you build momentum. It's like pushing a big ball. At first, it's hard to get it moving, but once it's rolling, it's much easier to keep it going. A daily learning habit builds momentum and makes it easier to continue. They create results. Small, consistent actions lead to big results over time. Studying for 15 minutes every day is almost 2 hours of study per week. That is over 100 hours of study in a year. These small daily efforts add up to amazing progress. 2. How to create your routine. Creating a routine is a personal process. You need to find what works for you, your life, and your schedule. Step 1. Find your time. Look at your daily schedule. Where do you have a small amount of free time? It could be 15 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes during your lunch break, or 30 minutes in the evening. Find a time that is usually free and quiet. This will be your English time. Start small. This is very important. Do not try to create a routine that is too ambitious. Do not say, I will study for 3 hours every day. This is very difficult to maintain. It is much better to start with a small, realistic goal like I will study for 15 minutes every day. You can always do more if you feel good, but the goal is the minimum you must do. Step 3. Use habit stacking. A great way to build a new habit is to connect it to an old habit that you already do every day. This is called habit stacking. Example, after I drink my morning coffee, I will do my English practice. Example, when I get on the bus to go to work, I will listen to an English podcast. Before I go to sleep, after I brush my teeth, I will write 1 sentence in my English journal. When you connect your new English habit to an existing habit, it is much easier to remember and to do automatically. 3. An example of a simple weekly routine. Here is an example of what a simple balanced routine could look like. Monday listening. Listen to 1 English song and read the lyrics, 15 minutes. Tuesday reading. Read 2 pages of a graded reader, 15 minutes. Wednesday speaking. Narrate your evening activities out loud, 10 minutes. Thursday vocabulary. Review your flash C cards, 10 minutes. Friday, writing. Write a short paragraph in your journal about your week, 15 minutes. Saturday, fun. Watch a movie or TV show in English. No pressure. Just enjoy. Sunday, review. Rest. Briefly review your notes from the week, or just take a day off to rest. This is just an example. You can create your own routine based on your goals and interests. 4. Be flexible and forgive yourself. Life is unpredictable. Some days you will be very busy or very tired. Some days you might miss your routine. That is okay. It is not a disaster. The important thing is to not miss 2 days in a row. If you miss 1 day, forgive yourself and get back to your routine the next day. Don't let 1 missed day become a missed week or a missed month. A good routine is your best friend on your English learning journey. It provides structure, builds consistency, and guarantees that you will make progress over time. Chapter 9, The Importance of Fun and Passion. We have talked a lot about methods, techniques, and routines. These things are very important. But there is one more ingredient that is essential for success in language learning. That ingredient is fun. If you're not having fun, you will not continue. If your learning feels like a boring, difficult chore, you will eventually lose your motivation and stop. The most successful language learners are the ones who find a way to make the process enjoyable. They connect English with their passions. What is a passion? A passion is something you love to do. It is an activity that makes you feel happy, interested, and energetic. It is something you do not because you have to, but because you want to. What are your passions? Maybe you love music. Maybe you love movies or TV shows. Maybe you love video games. Maybe you love cooking. Maybe you love sports. Maybe you love fashion, history, science, or animals. Whatever your passion is, you can use it to learn English. When you combine English with something you already love, it doesn't feel like studying anymore. It just feels like enjoying your hobby. How to connect English with your passions.